Hi everyone! So today's video is going to be my April wrap-up and May TBR, which is very late, but you guys know I cannot miss one of these videos. So we're going to go with it anyways, and I am finally out of school, so I hope you guys are as well and that you are enjoying the summertime. And I am excited to get back into video making and reading more frequently. So I did end up having a progressively better month of April. I did read a total of 6 books, which is better than March, February, and January combined, because those were all pretty bad reading months for me. So I did read a total of 6 books, and I do have a pretty large May TBR list as well that I'm excited to share. So to just get right in and get started, I'm going to start with the books I read for April. So the first one I have here is the Selection Stories by Kira Cass, which is the bind-up novellas for the Selection trilogy, and this has The Prince and the Guard, which are told from Prince Maxon and Aspen's perspectives, and I really liked reading this one. I'm a huge fan of the Selection trilogy, although I have not bought the one yet, so I have not read it yet, so please don't spoil that, but I'm a huge fan. I've always been a pretty big Maxon fan and not as much into Aspen, so I really liked reading from Maxon's perspective, but I actually did not mind Aspen's The Guard novella because I kind of warmed up to him a little bit more, and this got me really excited for the one release and kind of back into the world, and so I'm excited to get that one. Like I said, I have not picked it up yet, but I did give that one a 5 out of 5 stars. Next book that I have, I was actually sent early as an ARC, or kind of like an early copy for review, back in April. So I had mine a couple weeks earlier. It was released on May 6th, so it is already out now. But that is Breakable by Tamara Weber, which I do have a book review coming very soon. Hopefully the next video that goes up will be my review of this. I was planning on doing it and getting it up on the 6th, but I just had completely been swamped with school and it just did not work out that way. So my review for this is coming. I know there are a lot of you that love the story as well as I do, and I know that I've been talking about it a little bit and that I was going to do a review, so check back for that in a couple of days. But I will tell you guys, I did really love this one. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, just like Easy, which was the first one kind of in the companion series. So highly recommend Tamara's writing as well. I love her. Now, the next one I have, I actually had to read for school. This was for a literature cinema class that I was in, and to be honest, this book is probably one that I would have never otherwise picked up or never heard about or would have read, because I just tend to read young adult, new adult type of books, and I believe this is just a regular fiction genre, if I'm correct, and that is The Player by Michael Tolkien. And I was assigned this because we were reading the books and then watching the movie adaptations, and I believe The Player is very highly acclaimed as a film. So I read the book and I watched the movie, and both were really good. But I have to tell you guys, I absolutely loved this book. I loved it, and I was reading the Goodreads reviews for it while I was reading it, and it doesn't have very good reviews. Most people gave it like a 1, a 2, or a 3 star, which is usually not very good, but I really liked it too. So to give you guys a really quick kind of synopsis, basically this is about a male character named Griffin Mill, who is a Hollywood executive, and what he does is works for a big production studio company, and he meets with all of these writers and people who pitch ideas for movies to be made, and the production company he works for only makes like 7 or 8 films a year, like really big blockbusters, because they're a big company like Paramount or something like that. And so he always has this famous line he tells everybody that is, okay, I'll get back to you on that in a few days, or I'll get back with you in a few days, which is his way of never getting back with anybody and never telling them no specifically, but it's obviously a no when they don't hear from him. So he does this to everyone, thousands of people he meets, and one day he starts receiving these mysterious threatening postcards, and these postcards are from this anonymous writer who is like, Griffin, you never got back with me. I'm still waiting for you to get back with me. And they start saying these really threatening things, and he goes on this kind of quest to look through the people he met with and try to find potential people that could be the writer. And then this big kind of event happens and kind of changes the rest of the story and what happens throughout the story, and I just really loved it. I would highly recommend giving it a shot. The last physical copy I have to show you guys is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. This has always been one of my favorites in the series, and I've been rereading the entire series since June of last year. It's just been a slow trek, and so I finished this one this month. This is the biggest one in the entire series. It's like 870 something pages, so it is massive, and it took me a little longer to get through, but I did it, and I am on to the 6th one now, and I just love that. The final two that I have are actually both books I found on my phone on iBooks, and I'm not a big e-reader fan. I'm not into the e-reader thing. I don't have a Kindle or a Nook or an iPad that I read on. I like having books. I have this thing about owning the actual book. So I don't typically read books on my phone, but occasionally in the past I've purchased some, or if I've wanted to read something on a whim and I don't have access to a bookstore, I'll buy one. And so this month I was kind of bored with my reading selection and I wanted something new to read. And so I went through some of the free kind of book sections. Normally I would probably never go for these based on the covers and just the general synopsis. They're just not something that I'd normally kind of gravitate towards, but they're both contemporaries, and they all had really, or both of them had really high ratings, which is why I decided to download them and read them. For the most part, I ended up really enjoying both of them, and I would probably go on to read the second ones, the sequels for both of them as well. So the first one I absolutely loved. Hands down 5 out of 5 for this one, I would say, and that is called Saving Wishes by G.J. Walker Smith, which looks like this. You guys are not going to be able to see this because this lighting is awful. About a young girl who lives outside of the United States. I think she lives somewhere in Australia or South Africa, but she lives on like the beach, like a beachy town, so she's very into surfing, and she lives with her older brother who's kind of raised her all her life. Her parents died when she was really young, so she never really knew them, but he and her own this coffee shop where they work, and one day she's leaving the coffee shop to go to her car and she almost gets run over by a guy from America who just happens to be visiting a relative in her town, which is completely weird and crazy, but they end up meeting and kind of connecting and hitting it off, and then they start to kind of hang out and form a relationship like books do. But it has an interesting kind of element to it. The book's quite a bit different than, like I said, something I would normally go to or gravitate towards, but I really liked it. I thought that at first it was a little interesting and kind of strange for me because the characters sort of built this obvious relationship, and I was kind of like, it felt rushed. But then as it goes on, the author did a really nice job of kind of defining the characters more and kind of slowing things down and kind of building the plot up a little bit. So it turned out to be really, really good, and I really enjoyed it. The next one that I have that I found for free doesn't have the best cover. I have to say this is not my favorite cover, and I feel bad saying that sometimes because I don't want to offend authors, but I'm not the hugest fan of this cover, and I probably would have never otherwise read it if it didn't have good reviews. And this one's called Crush by Lacey Weatherford, and again, the cover's okay, the title, you know, I don't know. I think I gave this one either a 4 or a 5 star. I might have 4.5'd it, I can't remember because it's been a while. But basically this one is about a girl in high school, another young adult, who is kind of like a good girl, innocent. She's very like goody two-shoes, like she gets good grades, and her best friend's like a guy who's really nerdy that no one really likes and all of this stuff. And then there's a new guy that comes to school who's immediately like got a bad reputation as being like the bad boy. He's already like hanging out with these like druggy kind of guys in school, and he's got this reputation already like kind of defined as a partier and all this, and she is like anti-partying and all of this stuff. She meets him and they have class together, and they start kind of talking and they kind of connect, they have chemistry, and so she starts hanging out with him and she really likes him, but she doesn't like his partying side of him, and so that's kind of a struggle throughout the book a little bit. And then he's kind of got a past, like a secret that he's hiding from her that you don't really know what it is until the very end things unfold, and I thought it was really good. I personally did not really see the twist coming. I know some people on the review said that they did, but I personally thought it was going to go in a completely different direction than it did, and I thought it ended out really well. So this one was kind of interesting too because the romance part of it was really good, but it was slightly different from typical young adult. It was like a little bit more kind of intense than young adult, but it wasn't quite like new adult. So I really enjoyed it. Again, there are, I think, 2 more in this one, and I think there are 2 more in the Saving Wishes series too. So I would recommend both of those if you want free books on iBooks or Android. I think that they were worth reading. Okay, so now on to my May TBR part. I know that this video is getting really long, but I have a pretty extensive TBR list for this month. I'm hopeful that I will get through at least most of these. So the first one that I have, I actually received from my friend Eileen here on YouTube, who makes videos as Eileen Reads. She's one of my favorite people to watch and one of my good friends that I talk to a lot, and I won a giveaway that she hosted actually, which was very coincidental and weird, but I did win this book, which I've been wanting to read forever, and that is Hex Hall by Rachel Hawkins. So I'm excited. I'm currently reading this. I'm on page 94, and I'm starting to get a little bit more into it. It started off a little interesting for me. I'm not sure exactly how things are going to happen, but I've heard that it's really good and that this book is way underhyped and that it's hilarious, and so I'm excited to see where it goes. So this is the first one that I'm currently reading and hope to finish this month. Now the next one is the 6th Harry Potter book, which is The Half-Blood Prince. I am also currently reading this one. I kind of flip back and forth between books, and this one I'm on like 100 and something, I think, like 150 maybe. I don't know. And so this one I'm already kind of into. This one's been a little bit quicker of a read for me for some reason than the other one, Order of the Phoenix. I just didn't have as much time to read, but I've already been kind of getting into this one, so of course I love that, and I'm just rereading it. The next one I have, I purchased in April, and I've been so excited for this book for months, and I finally got it, and I started reading it and then I put it down, and I just haven't had a time to read enough of it to really get into it, but I cannot wait to read it, and I love this book as far as the physical appearance of it, and that is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I just cannot get over how gorgeous this book is. It's a contemporary. I'm a huge contemporary fan, and I just love this. It is so stunning, and the actual book is hot pink, and I just cannot wait to read this. Everyone has said it's fantastic and really cute and good, and so I hope to get to this month. I think I got around 30 pages done, and I just kind of wasn't feeling it, so I put it down for Harry Potter, but I cannot wait to read that one. Now I have 3 more I want to try to read, but I don't have them yet. So the first one is, of course, The One by Kiera Cass, which I, again, do not have yet and have not read yet. So I'm excited to see where that ties up the trilogy. I think I have an idea already based on just some subtle things that I've kind of seen, but I've been really trying to avoid reviews and anything about it so I don't find out what happens, but I think I have an idea. So that will be coming soon, hopefully in a book review. Another one I also want to read is Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson. I did actually read last year this one by her, which is Second Chance Summer, and I did enjoy this one. This was actually the first book review I ever did on my channel. The final one that I hope to at least pick up soon is Love Letters to the Dead, and I do not know the author's name for that one. I cannot wait to get my hands on that book and to read it because I think that the plot line sounds awesome. I've heard it's well written and that it's just a fantastic, phenomenal book, so I cannot wait to have that because I want to read the story and the cover is stunning, so hopefully I get my hands on that. That is all for today's video. Thank you guys for sticking around and watching. I know it's a little longer than normal, but thank you guys for that. I hope you're having an awesome month so far, and if you'd like, feel free to share what you're reading this month with me below so that I can, you know, keep up with what you guys are reading and get some ideas for what else I want to read and add to my list and all of that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.